Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited. Thank you for coming and being part of this special occasion. We are here today to honor an American soldier who fought in a war far away from home 75 years ago. The French Legion of Honor is the highest distinction that France can bestow upon those who have achieved remarkable deeds for France. His family is very proud of him and glad to be standing with him today. Please stand for the French anthem and the American national anthem. We have several guests here today. One that just walked in the door, and I want to introduce her. It's Ann Capel. She is our honorary consul from Cincinnati. Ann, would you stand up and just let everybody see you? I think she's beautiful. Our first guest is Tammy Puff. She's the military and veteran liaison presenting our Ohio Governor, Mike DeWine.
Well, it is absolutely an honor to be here. The governor wishes he could be, and I'm sorry he's not here. But on behalf of Governor Mike DeWine and Lieutenant Governor John Husted, we're so proud of you and just so happy that you're here to be able to receive this award tonight. I think it's just phenomenal. We thank you for the work that you did, for your service to our country then and your continued service now. It's just such an honor to be able to be in the presence of our veterans, and I truly do thank you. I do have a certificate for you, which I'm not going to read. I will just give that to you. But thank you all for being here, and it's not about us. It's completely about you, so I do thank you all.
Thank you, Tammy. Next, we have Sean McCarthy. He's Assistant Director of the Department of Veteran Services, representing the Ohio Department of Veteran Affairs. Sean.
And following on Tammy, it is a privilege. And it's a privilege to do what we do every day. The Department of Veteran Services works every day to connect veterans back to their community. We're going to hear very shortly about all the extraordinary things that Staff Sergeant Roettgers did in his service in uniform. I'm actually here to say thank you for everything you did afterwards. When you came back to Ohio, when you came back to your family and your neighbors and your coworkers, you made your community a better place. And we are grateful for not only the service you did in uniform, but we're grateful for all the service you've done since then. It's my privilege to be here and say welcome home and to say thank you for all the stuff you've done. Sir.
Next, we also would like to welcome our very own mayor of the city of Norwood, Mayor Thomas Williams.
So I said to my wife, what do I say? I can't, how do you make up the words or write the words to talk about Sergeant Roettgers? Jerry, I did walk in. When I walked in, I talked to him for a brief moment. He said, well, my friend's here and my other friend's not. And he was talking about Ray Havlin, who was a captain on the Norwood Police Department. And they were very good friends. And I said to him, what do you think he's whispering in your ear? And he said, I don't think you wanted to repeat that. So they were very good friends. Let me say, I've been mayor, this will be my last year, for 16 years, and I've never had an honor such as this. To be in this presence and have the French Consul come in and present a local citizen and my friend with your recognition that you're certainly entitled to. And I also think back, we watched the D-Day invasion again and again because it was the 75th anniversary. And like today, you see these 18 and 19-year-olds hitting the beach, in the water, in the sand. Some of them didn't even make it to the sands. And the ones who did fought their way through France and liberated them. And I don't know, I was in the Army, but there was never a combat. I had a sergeant by the name of Baptiste who was an American Indian who had his first tank blown out from underneath of him at 17 years old in the invasion. And the stories they would tell, and that shows you how long ago I've been, and I was 18 when he told me. And when you listen to the stories of the individuals who were there, you can't, how do you describe that? How do you describe the battle and the war and the fear and the dedication that it takes to go forward and defend your country? I can't put it into words. I was in the Army. I didn't fight in combat. I don't know. I would hope that I would have done well. But Jerry, you did. You did well. You survived. And you came back victorious. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read the proclamation. I got all emotional, Jerry. We need to sit and drink a... Well, never mind. We will. We will. So, I'm sorry, I forgot. I got all carried away. Whereas on July 9th, 2019, the Consul General of France to the Midwest will present Jerome Roettgers the Legion of Honor Medal for his role in the liberation of France during World War II. The Legion of Honor was founded by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1802, and the recipients of this distinctive honor are named by decree signed by the President of France. Where Jerome Roettgers was a member of the 263rd Regiment, Company A, 66th Infantry Division in the Theater of Operations in Europe. On July 12, 1945, near the port St. Nathalie in Western Europe, he was injured and captured by enemy forces during an attack. He was then held prisoner of war until May 12, 1945. Whereas Jerome H. Roettgers is a true hometown hero, has been awarded the Purple Heart, POD Medal, the Bronze Star, the American Theater Ribbon, the European, African, Middle Eastern European Ribbon, and 1 Bronze Star, the Good Conduct Medal, World War II Victory Medal, and an Expert Infantry Badge. The Bronze Star. Now, you don't get that for just showing up. Whereas Jerome Roettgers, who is 95, moved to the city of Norwood when he was 1 year old and remains a devoted citizen to this day. And we're thankful for that. Whereas the city of Norwood is proud to be called the home of Jerome H. Roettgers and will honor him for a significant contribution and recognize as brought to the Norwood community. The city of Norwood would like to congratulate Jerome H. Roettgers for receiving the Legion of Honor Medal. Now I therefore, Thomas F. Williams, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Norwood, state of Ohio, do hereby proclaim July 9th, 2019 is Jerome Roettgers Day. God love you, Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, Molly.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Guillaume Lacroix. Guillaume Lacroix became Consul General of France in Chicago on August 29, 2017. He holds diplomas from Institut d'études politiques de Paris and Université Panthéon-Assas. He speaks Swahili, a language he studied at Institut National des Langues et Civilisations Orientales in Paris and in Zanzibar, Tanzania. He started his diplomatic career in 1997. He was assigned to the Department of African and Indian Ocean Affairs in Paris, then to the French Embassy in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and to the French Embassy in Washington. He was also posted in 2 other diplomatic institutions, at the U.S. State Department as part of the Transatlantic Diplomatic Fellow Program, and at the European External Action Service in Brussels. From 2013 until 2017, he served in the cabinets of French Foreign Affairs Ministers Laurent Fabius and Jean-Marc Ayrault as Counselor for African Affairs. Guillaume Lacroix was born in 1971 in Auxerre. He is married and has 2 children.
Good afternoon and bonjour. Vive l'Amérique. I guess there are good French teachers in Norwood because your pronunciation is perfect. You said Auxerre and not Auxerre, like many people say. Congratulations on that. I know many French people who say Auxerre. So. But thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with you to represent the French people, to represent France, and to represent the French president for our hero. As the Proclamation says, the Legion of Honor was created by Napoleon Bonaparte in France in 1802. And today it is the French president who is the only official who has the power to determine who gets the medal. So this is by decision of President Emmanuel Macron that Mr. Roettgers is going to be made a knight in the Order of the Legion of Honor. This is my country's highest distinction. This is a big deal. And this is to reward exceptional deeds made for the prosperity, the welfare of the French people and the French nation. And Mr. Roettgers, you belong to America's greatest generation. You are a true American hero. And today you're becoming a true French hero. A hero of my nation, a hero of Anne's nation. Because we are eternally grateful for what you did in France, in Europe, in 1944 and 1945. You risked everything for your country. You risked everything to win the war, to ensure that peace and freedom are guaranteed in your country. You served with honor your country. And in doing so, you served my country because we allied, and you saved my country. France was under foreign occupation since 1940. And nowadays in France, every family has a story to tell about the occupation by the Nazis, the humiliation, the sufferings, the prisoners of war. My grandfather was a prisoner of war. He served his country in uniform, but in 1940, he was taken. And he was freed only in 1945. I'm saying this because you were a prisoner of war. And it resonates. It resonates with every French family. The memory of World War II is very strong. The memory of the bad days and the memory of the good days. A few weeks ago, we commemorated the 75th anniversary of the D-Day, the Normandy invasion, the liberation of France and Europe. And it is very important for us to commemorate these days together with the young generation. And I think it's very important. And when I was told that this ceremony would be taking place here in a high school, middle school, I think this is the best place to honor our hero. There is no better place so that the generations to come, the young generations and the future generations, receive the testimony, the transmission of what happened. Because freedom is not free. And we in France, we are, I believe, making efforts to make sure that we keep this memory alive. It's about the memory, but it's also about the gratitude. And sir, I want to say thank you for your service, but through you, I want to thank all the veterans from Ohio for what they did in World War II, the ones who are still here, the ones who are no longer here, including the ones who could not make it home in 1944. Many of them died in my country. They died for their country, but also for my country. And for those of you who have visited the cemeteries in France, the war cemeteries in Normandy, in other regions, you probably saw how important it is to you, of course, but also to us. France became the land of adoption of the men and women in uniform who died in action. France has become their second country. And I really want to express how much we care and how committed we are to take good care of the sacred grounds in Normandy and elsewhere in France. France and America have actually always been together. Last week you celebrated Independence Day. France played a role in your independence. On the right side of history. Tomorrow I will be in Lafayette, Indiana. And I visited on 2 different occasions Napoleon, Ohio. I have to say I've also been to Waterloo, Iowa, but please don't repeat that. Actually, the main street of Waterloo, Iowa is called Lafayette Street, so that's, we're even. But I want to take this example to stress that maybe you had a debt with France for what we did for your independence, but the debt that we have to you, that we owe you, because of 1917, because of 1944, is a debt that the French people will never be able to repay in full. So our way to show our gratitude is to honor individuals, heroes like Mr. Roettgers. Again, that comes from the French president, on behalf of all French families. When I came into the auditorium, I saw a young gentleman sitting there, and I asked, "Where is the veteran?" You are so impressive. I need to check my notes because they say on July 18th, you will celebrate your 95th anniversary. I really need to check my notes. And so you were born in Cincinnati 95 years ago, and at the age of one year old, your family moved to Norwood. Your father worked at a printing company in Cincinnati. Your mother was a homemaker, taking care of the children, 1 son and 3 daughters. And at the age of 18, in March of 1943, you were entered into active duty. and you joined the Black Panther Division as part of the 263rd Regiment, serving as a rifleman, a squad leader during combat, and platoon guide. A specialist of infantry tactics and use of small arms. On November 15th of 1944, you left for England. Actually, your regiment was supposed to go to Belgium to serve in the Battle of the Bulge. But the ship that was supposed to carry you, the Leopoldville, got sunk. Was torpedoed and sunk 5 miles from the coast of Cherbourg. More than 760 American soldiers died. They gave their life to the noble cause of freedom. And so instead you were sent to France. You learned the news on Christmas Eve of 1944. And on January 1st of 1945, your regiment split into 3 different groups, going to Lorient, Bretagne, Brittany, Saint-Nazaire, and La Rochelle. You were assigned to the Saint-Nazaire group. And you participated in one of the most glorious battles that is probably less known because of the importance of the D-Day invasion, but it was, I think, equally important in military terms. The Battle of the Pocket of Saint-Nazaire. You were telling me actually before the ceremony started about looking for ports so that logistics could be shipped and not rely only on Normandy. And you encountered severe German resistance. And actually on January the 12th, while you were patrolling with 5 other men, about 7 miles behind enemy lines, you walked into a trap. You were pinned down by automatic fire, injured by a grenade explosion, and captured. The German army sent you to a prison camp in Saint-Nazaire, which was located in an aircraft hangar. The conditions were very difficult. Don't think you received a lot of food while you were there. For several months, and in May, on May 12th of 1945, you were liberated. Transferred to a field hospital for a few days, then back on the front line briefly, before being transferred to Le Havre, which actually was the Camp Lucky Strike, which was the largest American military camp in Europe during the war. You received medical care for about 2 weeks. You had lost more than 40 pounds since arriving in Europe. And in June, you departed from Le Havre and were honorably discharged in December of 1945. Back in Ohio, in 1946, you went to Xavier University. Strong connection with France. The Musketeers. All for one. And you worked at the same time in the lumber business as a bookkeeper and also in sales. You married in 1951. In 1961, you started working at Courts Lumber in sales. And in 1980, you ended buying the company with a friend. I'm told you are still getting a lot of interest in the business. Spend a couple of days a week working at the company. You took up golfing in the 60s. You used to play bowling and softball. Not basket. And you have 7 children, 11 grandchildren, and 25 great-grandchildren. So far. Sir, it's immense honor and privilege for me and Anne Capelle to express our gratitude and to say that we speak on behalf of our families. I speak on behalf of my parents, my grandparents, but also on behalf of my children. From the very bottom of my heart, thank you for your service, sir.
Monsieur Jerome Roettgers, au nom du président de la République, je vous fais chevalier dans l'ordre national de la Légion d'honneur.
Just take a deep breath. You can do it.
You know,
Just take a deep
I always said I was the luckiest guy to come out of the service, out of the World War II. Now I know it. But anyway, for about 3 or 4 months I've been practicing this speech, and I still haven't gotten it right. So I'm going to read it. I got this one. Got 3 or 4 of them here. First of all, I'd like to thank the French government and the French people for this honor. Even with all the horrors and devastation they went through, they still wanted to honor an American soldier who fought on their soil. They are a great nation, and I am honored in my small way to have helped them gain their freedom. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. You will always be my comrade in arms. Vive la France! Vive la France! God bless America. I got a special thank you to my family and friends and all who made this honor so special. You made my day. Thank you.
You may be seated. All right, at this time, I'd like everyone to bow their heads as we say our prayer. Dear Lord, Jesus, and Mary, Mother of God, hold all these brave souls in the palm of your hand. Comfort them and their families. Send angels of protection, love, and comfort to all the servicemen and women still at war. Bring them home safely and comfort their families. We ask all our prayers in Jesus' name, amen. At this time, we'll have a moment of silence for all our military men and women, for all those who are currently deployed, for all the veterans that are home, and all the ones that didn't make it home.
Thank you, everyone. I'm not saying a speech after that. We'd like to thank the Norwood City Board of Education and Terry Havlin, I don't know where she is, for all your help and for providing us with the auditorium today. We'd like to thank the American Legion Post 1, Ohio Post 123 for providing the flags and for your support. Thank you. Thanks for Tammy Puff, Sean McCarthy, and Mayor Williams, and especially thank Mr. Lacroix and the French people for honoring our little soldier. It's ended, so you can go. You can come up and say hi. We're not going to make you stay any longer. But thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you.